Ladies, let me ask you something private. When was the last time someone warned you that having sex once a week, yes, just once, could actually raise certain risks after menopause? Sounds strange, right? We're told to stay active, to keep the spark alive, to never let age stop us from feeling desired. But behind closed doors, your body may be telling a different story, because recent studies are now showing that what feels normal might quietly be putting strain on your heart, your hormones, and even your long-term health. This isn't about shame, it's about truth. And once you hear what's really happening behind the science, you might see intimacy in a completely new light. If any part of this already feels like it's speaking to you, if you've been wondering whether intimacy after menopause still carries unspoken changes or risks, then this video was made especially for you. So stay with me, because the truth is, you deserve answers, honest ones, without fear or shame. And if this is something you've been quietly navigating, please take a moment to subscribe. We talk about these things here because someone needs to. Let's begin with what no one told us, because for most of your life, you probably believed that sex was a sign of good health, that keeping the spark alive meant you were doing something right, that a warm, active relationship was something to celebrate, no matter your age, and it is. But what if no one warned you that your body might start reacting differently to that same intimacy as the years go by? What if the very thing that once relaxed and restored you now quietly left you feeling tired, uncomfortable, or even strangely anxious? After menopause, so much changes inside us. And I'm not just talking about hormones. Your estrogen drops, your vaginal tissue becomes thinner and more sensitive, your natural lubrication decreases, and the way your blood vessels respond, especially during arousal or climax, can shift dramatically. Now, this doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It simply means your body needs new care, new awareness, new grace. There was a study not long ago, one that turned a few heads in the medical world. Researchers from Walden University followed hundreds of postmenopausal women, and what they found surprised even the scientists. Women who had sex once a week or more showed higher markers of cardiovascular stress. Not because sex is bad, but because the postmenopausal body isn't always equipped with the same protective hormones it once had. Imagine asking your heart to run a little faster without the estrogen to calm it afterward, or the progesterone to soothe inflammation and restore balance. For some women, sex now leaves them drained, wired, even restless at night. Have you ever felt that? Like your body just didn't bounce back the same way it used to? You're not alone, and no, it's not in your head. These aren't just emotional questions, they're biological signals. And for far too long, women's postmenopausal sexual health has been left in the shadows. But not here. This space is about opening that conversation, about helping you understand what your body is trying to say, with love, with science, and without judgment. Because knowledge is power, and you deserve to feel empowered, even in the most intimate corners of your life. Now let's talk about something most doctors never bring up in regular checkups, that your heart and your intimacy are more connected than you've ever been told. We often think of sex as purely emotional or physical, but inside your body, there's a whole network of systems lighting up. Your nervous system, your blood vessels, your muscles, even your hormones. And for women over 60, those systems are working very differently than they used to. In that same study I mentioned earlier, researchers found that sexual activity, especially weekly or more frequent intimacy, was associated with spikes in blood pressure and heart rate variability. Now, that's not to say sex causes heart problems, it's more subtle than that. Think of it like this: your body is beautifully adaptive, but it needs the right tools. Before menopause, your hormones did a lot of the heavy lifting, regulating your heart rate, relaxing your blood vessels, supporting your emotional state. But when those hormones decline, It's like asking your heart to do more with less support. During intimacy, your heart naturally beats faster. Your body enters a state similar to mild cardio exercise, which is great, unless your system isn't fully prepared. Some women feel that as exhaustion afterward, or a racing heart that lingers, or tension in the chest or neck they've never noticed before. And because we're not taught to look at sex through a cardiovascular lens, many women chalk it up to stress or even guilt. But it's not guilt. It's your heart saying, I'm working harder now, and I need you to listen. There's no need to be afraid. This isn't about giving up intimacy. It's about understanding how your body is changing so you can care for it with more compassion and less confusion. There are real physical reasons why things feel different, and it's okay to acknowledge that. Just like you wouldn't go for a run without warming up, you might not want to jump into intimacy without understanding what your heart needs now. Things like slow breathing, gentle buildup, emotional comfort. These aren't just nice-to-haves, they're protective tools, because when your nervous system feels safe, your heart responds with more ease, and intimacy becomes something healing again, not draining. The more we connect these dots, the more power we gain to choose how we move forward. Not out of fear, but out of love for ourselves. Because this heart of yours, it's still strong, it just deserves a little more tenderness now. Here's where things take an unexpected turn. Because while some women experience strain from sex after menopause, others, especially those who stop being intimate altogether, may face a different kind of risk. In the same research that raised concerns about heart strain, there was another discovery that many women overlook. The combination of low sexual activity and depression was linked to significantly higher mortality rates in older women. And that's important to understand because so many women in their 60s and 70s aren't just dealing with hormonal changes, they're quietly carrying emotional burdens too. Loneliness, grief, a loss of connection with a partner, with their body, with their sense of self. And when intimacy fades entirely, whether by choice, circumstance, or discomfort, something else can begin to fade too. That sense of closeness, the warmth of touch, the oxytocin, the endorphins, the tiny chemical messengers that once lifted your mood and calmed your body. You see, intimacy isn't just about sex. It's about being seen, being held, being reminded that your body is still capable of closeness and deserving of love. And when that disappears, especially alongside depression, your body takes notice. The nervous system becomes more reactive. Cortisol levels stay higher, sleep quality goes down, immune function weakens. And over time, all of that can quietly chip away at your resilience. This doesn't mean you have to rush back into anything you're not ready for. Not at all. It just means we need to start honoring the emotional side of intimacy as much as the physical one. Because for many women, it's not the absence of sex that hurts most. It's the absence of touch, of connection, of comfort. And that's something we can rebuild. Sometimes through conversation, sometimes through small gestures, sometimes through simply learning how to reconnect with your own body first, before inviting anyone else in. And if depression is something you've been carrying, please know you're not alone in that either. There are ways through it, gentle ways, safe ways. Ways that begin with truth, compassion, and sometimes even just this conversation right here. Because the real danger isn't in the lack of sex, it's in the silence. The kind of silence that makes you think this is just your new normal, and it's not. You deserve joy, you deserve connection, and you deserve to feel emotionally alive in every season of your life. Let's go a little deeper now, into what's really happening beneath the surface. Because if you've felt that your body doesn't respond the way it used to, if arousal feels slower, if touch feels different, if intimacy takes more effort than it once did, you're not imagining things. You're experiencing biology. You see, hormones like estrogen and testosterone used to act like your body's built-in intimacy boosters. They made your skin more sensitive, your tissues more elastic, your mind more open to pleasure. But after menopause, those hormones drop. And that gentle fire that once sparked so easily now needs a little more tending. Here's what's really fascinating. Your body is still capable of desire, still capable of pleasure, but it now asks you to slow down and to listen more carefully, because now it's not just about physical readiness, it's about emotional safety, it's about preparation, it's about allowing your nervous system to ease into a state where arousal can actually happen. And science backs this up. Studies show that when women feel emotionally relaxed and physically respected, the body responds more fully, even without the hormone levels of younger years. Oxytocin, the so-called love hormone, still floods your brain when you're touched gently. Dopamine still lights up your reward system when you feel desired. Endorphins still bring calm when intimacy feels safe. But to access those benefits now, it takes a new kind of approach, one that's slower, softer, more focused on trust than urgency. And let's be honest, many women over 60 have spent decades prioritizing other people's needs over their own, their partner's pleasure, their children's comfort, their family's well-being. So when it comes time to turn that attention inward, toward your own body, your own desires, your own needs, it can feel unfamiliar. But here's the beautiful part. This phase of life isn't about less intimacy. It's about better intimacy, deeper connection, more intentional touch, and a chance to discover what truly feels good now, not what used to. Whether you're with a partner or simply learning to reconnect with your own skin, touch still matters, warmth still heals, and yes, arousal still exists. It just lives in a new rhythm now, a rhythm that listens, that honors your pace, and that welcomes intimacy without pressure. So give yourself permission to explore again, to ask for what you need, to take your time because pleasure doesn't expire, and your body is still worthy of it in every possible way. By now, you might be wondering, so should I stop having sex once a week? Should I be worried if I still enjoy regular intimacy? Is it safer to pull back, just in case? These are fair questions, and the truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Because when experts studied the connection between frequent sex and health risks after menopause, they weren't saying that intimacy itself is harmful. They were saying that your body now has different needs, and that pushing through without awareness might create strain, not because sex is bad, but because we've never been taught how to adapt. Think of it like your joints or your digestion. What worked at 30 doesn't always work the same way at 65. And that's okay. So, no, you don't have to stop being intimate every week if that rhythm feels good and natural for you. But you might want to approach it differently. More communication, more gentleness, more rest, more recovery. Experts recommend checking in with your own body first, noticing how you feel after emotionally and physically. Are you sleeping well afterward? Does your body feel calm or tense? Do you look forward to it or feel like it's become routine? And if something feels off, you don't have to push through it. You can adjust, you can slow the pace, you can even take breaks and reconnect in new ways without shame. Doctors also encourage women to talk about these changes with their partners. Because one of the biggest sources of stress for women after menopause is feeling like they have to meet expectations that no longer match how they feel. You're allowed to ask for softness. You're allowed to say, "Can we take this slower tonight?" You're allowed to change your mind. What matters most isn't the frequency, it's the quality, the safety, the mutual understanding. And when that's in place, weekly sex doesn't just become possible, it becomes beautiful again, without the strain, without the fear. So no, you don't have to stop. But maybe it's time to redefine what sex means for this season of life. Not a performance, not a checklist, but a connection, one that leaves you feeling supported, not depleted. And if you haven't had that kind of intimacy in a long time, you can start again with yourself, with your partner, with a new understanding of what your body truly needs now. Because expert advice is helpful, but your inner wisdom is powerful. And when you listen to that, you'll always know what's right for you. So where does that leave us? What are the new rules for intimacy once you've passed through menopause? Once your hormones have quieted and your body has changed in ways you're still getting used to? Here's the truth. The old rules no longer apply. And honestly, they probably never served you all that well to begin with. This stage of life is asking for something different, something softer, something more honest, and maybe something more joyful. Because here's what we know now. Intimacy after 60 isn't about keeping up with a certain rhythm. It's about creating your own. It's about listening to your energy, noticing how your body responds, and choosing connection that nourishes you, not drains you. The new rules aren't based on age, they're based on awareness. Rule 1, start with safety, not just physical safety, but emotional safety. You deserve to feel relaxed, unrushed, and respected every single time. Rule 2, treat your body like something sacred, because it is. Whether you need extra time, more touch, different kinds of closeness, you are allowed to ask for it, without apology. Rule 3, redefine what intimacy even means. Because for some women, it's not about intercourse at all, it's about cuddling, massaging, holding hands, even simply undressing and being close without expectation. Touch doesn't have to lead anywhere. Sometimes it's enough all by itself. Rule 4, prioritize aftercare, not just for the body, but for the heart. That means checking in with yourself afterward. Drinking water, resting, sitting with how it made you feel, and giving yourself compassion if something felt off. Rule 5, keep the conversation open with yourself, with your doctor, with your partner, with a new understanding of what your body truly needs now. Because expert advice is helpful, but your inner wisdom is powerful, and when you listen to that, you'll always know what's right for you. So where does that leave us? What are the new rules for intimacy once you've passed through menopause? Once your hormones have quieted and your body has changed in ways you're still getting used to? Here's the truth. The old rules no longer apply, and honestly, they probably never served you all that well to begin with. This stage of life is asking for something different, something softer, something more honest, and maybe something more joyful. Because here's what we know now. Intimacy after 60 isn't about keeping up with a certain rhythm. It's about creating your own. It's about listening to your energy, noticing how your body responds, and choosing connection that nourishes you, not drains you. The new rules aren't based on age, they're based on awareness. Rule 1, start with safety. Not just physical safety, but emotional safety. You deserve to feel relaxed, unrushed, and respected. Every single time. Rule 2, treat your body like something sacred, because it is. Whether you need extra time, more touch, different kinds of closeness, you are allowed to ask for it, without apology. Rule 3, redefine what intimacy even means. Because for some women, it's not about intercourse at all. It's about cuddling, massaging, holding hands, even simply undressing and being close without expectation. Touch doesn't have to lead anywhere. Sometimes it's enough all by itself. Rule 4, prioritize aftercare, not just for the body, but for the heart. That means checking in with yourself afterward, drinking water, resting, sitting with how it made you feel, and giving yourself compassion. If something felt off, Rule 5, keep the conversation open. With yourself, with your doctor, with your partner. Because silence doesn't protect you, it isolates you, and you deserve better than that. If you're single, this still applies, because intimacy with yourself, whether that means touch, movement, or simple self-connection, is just as important. And if you felt disconnected from your sensuality for years, it's never too late to return to it, with grace, with laughter, with patience. There's no right number of times to be intimate after menopause. There's only what works for you, and that may change from month to month. That's normal, that's human, that's beautiful. You don't have to measure yourself by anyone else's clock, because intimacy after 60, it's not about staying the same, it's about rediscovering yourself, fully, gently, and on your own terms. So if you've been wondering whether your body's changes mean something is wrong, let this be your reminder: nothing about you is broken, you are evolving. And with that comes a new relationship with your body, your needs, and your intimacy. You don't have to perform, you don't have to keep up, you only have to listen to your heartbeat, to your comfort, to the quiet voice that knows what feels right. This journey is yours, and there is no shame in adjusting the pace or redefining the rules, because your worth doesn't depend on frequency. It lives in how deeply you care for yourself at every stage of life.